Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. I am Trisha from G Tour Guides and I am with my fellow step-on guides na makikilala nyo during our tour in Metro Manila. Kung nakikita nyo ang malaking tower sa aking likuran, ito ay ang Quezon Memorial Circle. But it's not time para i-tour ko kayo because I'm going to tell you the summary kung ano-ano nga ba ang ating pupuntahan or ang ating itinerary for today. At 8 a.m., we are currently here at Quezon Memorial Circle, our first destination. At 9 a.m., we are going to the famous Chinatown here in Binondo. At 9:40 a.m., pupunta naman tayo sa sikat na Binondo Church, na kung saan madadaanan natin ito pagkalagpas ng Chinatown. Next, at exactly 10:20 a.m., makakarating na tayo sa Dambanang Rizal sa may Fort Santiago at madadaanan natin ang ilang kilalang destinasyon katulad na lamang ng Casa Manila. Siyempre, huwag kayong mag-alala dahil hindi kayo magugutom sa ating biyahe. Dahil kakain tayo sa isang sikat na restaurant na tinatawag nilang Barbara's Heritage Restaurant. After our lunch around 1:10 p.m. to 2:50 p.m., mabibisita na natin ang National Museum at Rizal Park. Siyempre, hindi magiging kompleto ang ating tour kung hindi tayo pupunta sa sikat na Manila Baywalk, ang ating last na destination. Is that clear, everyone? Matututo at makikita nyo ang mga sikat na places dito sa Metro Manila. But, before we continue, let me call on Jemina, our step-on guide, to discuss some do's and don'ts na dapat nating malaman.
Mabuhay! Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Ako po ang inyong step-on guide na si Jemina, si Millares. But you can call me Jem. And with regards to our do's and don'ts in general, I would like to remind everyone that first, you can bring your food inside the bus, but it's strictly prohibited to smoke inside. Second, follow your tour guide's instructions so that we can avoid accidents or injury. Third, give us special care with your things, especially your money, bag, ID, wallet, and many more. The last thing we should remember is always put a smile on your face and have fun. Is that clear, tourists? To start our tour, let me give your attention to Irysh and Elle so that they can enlighten you about our first destination. So, tourists, here's our bus. Pasok na kayo habang tayo nag-head count. Tara na!
Good day, everyone! I am Irysh, together with my partner, Elle. We are the tour guides for today. So, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon ay ang Quezon Memorial Circle, ang history nito at kung saan ito nakalocate. The National Museum of the Philippines has declared the Quezon Memorial Shrine as one of the country's national cultural treasure, the highest government distinction that can be conferred on a cultural property. The museum is located in the Quezon Memorial Circle, is open every Tuesday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Republic Act number 10066 or the National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009 defines a national cultural treasure as a unique cultural property found locally possessing outstanding
historical, cultural, artistic, and/or scientific value which is highly significant and important to the country and nation. Quezon Memorial, designed by architect Federico Ilustre of Bureau of Public Works, which is now Department of Public Works and Highways, is an equilateral triangular shrine dedicated to the late President Manuel Luis M. Quezon. It houses a museum at its base and serves as the mausoleum of the former president and his wife, Aurora.
The Quezon Memorial is the second national cultural treasure located in Quezon City. The shrine, which is considered as the most significant landmark of Quezon City, has 3 66-meter pylons and 66 is former President Quezon's age upon his death. which represent the three major islands of the Philippines.
Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao Italian artist Francisco Ricardo Morti's sculpture, the Art Deco statues of three angels holding Sampaguita funerary wreaths are also placed above the pylon.
The museum features the former president's personal and political belongings, books, articles, and documents, and photos from his youth until his death. It also has various rooms and interactive booths that offer information about Quezon and his family. Here are some fun things to do at the Quezon Memorial Circle. Jogging around the Quezon City Circle Park, biking around the Quezon Memorial Shrine, food tripping, walking, visiting museums inside the Quezon Memorial Park, and also shopping.
With our sunny weather, don't forget to bring a water to keep you hydrated. And here's a reminder, enjoy your trip and take as much pictures as you want.
Tama ka dyan, partner. Making memories with you is my favorite thing to do. And our quote for today, always remember, life is a long journey, so enjoy and make some beautiful memories along the way. Enjoy, everyone!
Mabuhay sa inyong lahat at kami ang inyong step-on guide na magbibigay ng kaalaman tungkol sa ating pangalawang destinasyon. At exactly 9 a.m., andito tayo ngayon sa tinaguriang Chinatown sa Binondo, Manila. Kung makikita nyo sa inyong bintana ay tanaw na natin ang largest Chinatown arc na madadaanan sa tinatawag na Jones Bridge. So the name comes from the Tagalog word binundok, which means mountainous due to its hilly landscape. So Chinatown is located across Pasig River from the walled city of Intramuros. So, it is founded by Spanish Governor Luis Perez das Marinas in 1594. It was originally meant for Chinese immigrants who converted to Catholicism. Since then, Chinatown has changed drastically from experiencing a bloody revolution, destructive wars to improvement and reconstruction. Para maliwanagan pa kayo, pakinggan natin ang aking partner na si step-on guide na si Jem.
Correct ka dyan, partner. That's why tinagurin itong world oldest Chinatown in Manila. Hi, ako po ulit si Jem, ang inyong step-on guide. Habang tayo umiikot sa Chinatown, I'm going to give you an information of what you can see in Chinatown. Visiting the Philippines' first ever Chinatown Museum, where you can learn about Chinatown's rich history of connection and its interactive exhibits and rich culinary history, a must to do in order to complete your trip in Binondo. Because they have just about everything you would want to taste. Am I right, tourist? Silip lang kayo sa bintana nyo at makikita nyo or matatanaw nyo kung gaano kaganda at kadaming pwedeng kainan at puntahan sa loob ng Chinatown sa Binondo. Pero you know, they have a strict policy or rules when visiting some high-class establishment in Chinatown. Like, you cannot just touch any statues or monument inside the Chinatown. Why? Because may batas ito na lahat ay protected and conserves that their national culture heritage. Nakakatakot talagang lumabag dito kasi pagka nahuli ka nila, may penalty ka or palalabasin ka ng Chinatown. Another don'ts is conservative sila sa mga words na sinasabi ng mga visitors sa loob ng Chinatown, especially kapag ito ay discrimination words about Chinese. Because alam naman natin, ang mga nakatira sa loob ng Chinatown ay mga Chinese people or immigrant Chinese people na naninirahan na sa loob ng Chinatown. So, para tayo magdire-diretso sa ating tour, let me call Angel and Mark Hill to explain the third destination, ang Binondo Church. Go ahead.
Mabuhay mga turista, I am Angel Marie but you can call me Angel. At kasama ko ang aking step-on guide partner na si Mark Hill. Kami ay ang magpapakilala sa inyo at magbibigay ng kaalaman patungkol sa ating susunod na destinasyon na ang Binondo Church. As of now, you will witness the infamous Chinatown of Binondo, Manila. Did you know that the oldest Chinatown here in the world is located in Binondo, Manila? Dating back to late 1500s, this place was established by the Spaniards as settlements for Chinese immigrants. And now if you will look into the right side, you will be able to see the Binondo Church. It is one of the most beautiful churches here in Manila, which stands out because of its rich history and stunning architecture. As of writing, Binondo Church is now open for the tourists, but since we are still in the middle of the pandemic, sadly, the church strictly follows and implements IATF protocols, which is an interagency task force that manages emerging diseases in the country. So make sure to disinfect, take your temperature, then sign up or log in onto the tracer's logbook before going in. Also, do not forget to dress appropriately, wear your face mask, and be quiet at all times.
Just to give you a brief background, Binondo Church is also known as the Minor Basilica of the National Shrine of San Lorenzo Ruiz, is located here in the district of Binondo, Manila, fronting the Plaza San Lorenzo Ruiz in the Philippines. It was founded by Dominican priests in 1956 to serve convert Chinese immigrants to Christianity. And thus for the original design of this building, it was created by the talented Spanish architect Domingo de la Cruz Gonzales. However, the original building got destroyed by the 1762 British bombardment. That's why they had to rebuild it on the same site in 1852, but then again it got destroyed for the second time during the Second World War, with only the western facade and the octagonal belfry surviving. The church was named after the sacristan San Lorenzo Ruiz, who was born in 1600s and died at the early age of 37 years old. He was born of a Chinese father and a Filipino mother. Trained in this church and afterward went as a missionary to Japan and got executed there for refusing to renounce his religion.
Mabuhay mga katurista! Ako nga pala si Mark, your tour guide for today. Tara na't libutin natin ang tinatagong ganda ng Manila. Oops, wait! To make our tour more interesting, I'll give you a trivia about tour guiding. Tour guiding can be called tourist guide. Tourist guide, we are the people who work in tourism and show people around in the specific area. Our role is to make the tourists feel welcome and to help them understand the things that they are seeing.
Munting paalala mga katurista, sa museo matinding ipinagbabawal na hawakan ang mga bagay-bagay na nakadisplay doon upang maiwasan ang bakas ng mga kamay at iwasan ang mga pagkasira nito.
Huwag din po tayong magdala ng mga pagkain at tubig sa loob ng museo upang maiwasan ang pagkalat nito. Mabuhay mga katurista! Ako si Agent 11 and with my partner, Agent 6, nandito ulit kami upang magbigay ng impormasyon tungkol sa damba ng Rizal.
Mabuhay sa inyong mga tourist! I'm Arcelyn, one of your tour guide for today.
The fort is one of the most important historical sites in Manila. Several lives were lost in prison during the Spanish and World War II. Jose Rizal, one of the Philippine national heroes, was imprisoned here before his execution in 1896. Intramuros was the center of the Spanish Empire in the Philippines, and Fort Santiago was the heart of the Spanish military.
This museum was built in 1953 and was modernized in 2013. Ang Rizal Shrine ay kasalukuyang nagpapakita ng koleksyon ng mga artifact, original na manuskripto, libro, eskultura, painting, litrato, at likhang sining mula sa personal na koleksyon ni Dr. Jose Rizal. The Fort Santiago served as barracks for Spanish artillery soldiers during Spanish colonization of the islands. These bricks ruins are part of Fort Santiago's oldest building. Built in 1593, it housed Spanish soldiers. This was where army officers and their families lived, but the building was entirely destroyed during the World War II. And now, without any further ado, allow us to tour you and with my partner sa ilang mga interesting na patungkol sa Rizal Shrine. Silid Paglilitis or the Trial Room.
is among one of the first galleries you will encounter when you enter the museum. The room features life-size statues that replicates Rizal's trial at the Cuartel de España through a dramatic light and sound presentation.
Sa Rizal prison cell, Jose Rizal spent his last hours in his cell before his execution, bagong bahay in Rizal Park. In his actual prison cell lies a life-size wax effigy of Jose Rizal depicting the time when he is writing his final masterpiece, The Mi Ultimo Adios. The wax sculpture was made by another national artist, Guillermo Tolentino. National Artist Wall Sculpture.
And lastly, of course, the Noli Me Tangere. Of course, Rizal Shrine has one of Jose Rizal's masterpiece. This museum has a nice copy of Noli Me Tangere.
Thank you, Arcelyn and Mark, for giving us knowledgeable information about Dambanang Rizal. Good morning, tourists. I am Angel, your tourist guide for today. Okay, we are now approaching to our next destination, as you can see from the right side, the Casa Manila. Casa Manila was built in 1981, copied from the ancestral house that once stood in Calle Habaneros. It is a lifestyle museum aimed at showcasing the domestic lifestyle of a native principalia during the Spanish colonial period. Did you know that Casa Manila is one of the most popular tourist spots in Intramuros? It's opposite the San Agustin Church and is a replica of Spanish colonial mansion. It recreates the rich merchants' way during the Spanish colonization, showcasing period furniture coming from Chinese, European, and Philippine origins. Remember that professional cameras, SLR, DSLR, digital camera are not allowed in Casa Manila. Refrain yourself from touching any of the display. Only visitors 15 to 65 years old are allowed. But before we continue to our next destination, let me call our tourist guide Nitz to give us a brief background for our next destination.
Thank you for that. I'm your step-on guide 17, Mabuhay. We are now approaching Barbara's Heritage Restaurant. For sure, gutom na nga tayo, di ba? Kaya wag na natin itong patagalin. Barbara's Heritage Restaurant is the home to the Cultura Filipina dinner show. Barbara de los Reyes was brought up with a taste of elegance and a good food. Did you know that Barbara's family pioneered the fine dining and catering industry in Olongapo City? Barbara brought this fondness for gourmet cuisine to Manila in the early 1970s, starting out at a small cafe in Maque. The business soon expanded its operations to catering as well as the canteen management. Today, Barbara's is located at the Plaza San Luis complex in Intramuros, Manila. The restaurant's main entries celebrate traditional Filipino and Spanish recipes, but house specialties are included other European-inspired dishes. Also, in the year 2016, Barbara's was truly blessed with the presence of a very special guest, Most Reverend Luis Antonio G. Cardinal Tagle, who went to dinner with his family and visitors. Now let's welcome our next step-on guide to talk about our next destination.
Mabuhay at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. I am Agent 20 at pwede nyo rin akong tawaging Miss Diana. I will be your step-on guide for this wonderful and knowledgeable tour. So let's go! We are going to the National Museum of Fine Arts, located along Padre Burgos Avenue, Ermita, Manila. But before, on your left, that was Andres Bonifacio Memorial Shrine or Murals, which is also known by the people as the KKK Monument. And that monument was unveiled in 1998 during the celebration of the Philippine Independence Day. And to remember Andres Bonifacio y de Castro, who was known as the father of the Philippine Revolution with the group KKK, played a big part to gain our country's current independence. Did you know that National Museum has been experienced a lot? Well, let me tell you its history. This neoclassical structure was constructed in 1918 during American colonial era by the two architects Ralph Daan and Antonio Toledo. And then after years, architect Juan Argano was permitted to change the layout of this building for the Philippine legislature. And then, in 1926, the second regular session of the 7th Philippine legislature was opened here. In 1935, it became the National Assembly but was destroyed during the liberation of Manila. So in 1950 to 1970s, it became the Congress building then. During the time of martial law, it was the Prime Minister officer in 1987. As the Senate, and finally in 1998 it was turned over the National Museum and it was declared as a National Historical Landmark by the National Historical Commission in 2010. And to enlighten you more about National Museum, let's hear some information from my partner, Agent 26.
Good day everyone, I'm Dainne and I will be your step-on guide for today's tour. We are now approaching the National Museum of the Philippines. Upon entering the National Museum, we will be welcomed first by the Spolarium Hall, formerly the Old House of Representatives, which now displays one Luna Spolarium. The Spolarium was bought by the government of Barcelona in 1885 until 1937. But when the Museo del Arte Moderno was burned during the Spanish Civil War, it was transferred to Madrid and then later on donated to the Philippines as a gift from the...
Magandang buhay! Ako po si Patricia, isa sa inyong magiging guide sa araw na ito dito sa Rizal Park. We would like to welcome you all to Manila. Now, I'd like to take some time to inform you about brief safety precautions. Firstly, today the temperature will be above 25 degrees. So you should make sure that you drink enough water, and we also recommend you to use sunscreen to avoid sunburn. Secondly, you should always take care of your belongings while walking in the city. And lastly, iwasan po natin magkalat ng kahit na ano pa pong kalat dito sa area. For any questions and concerns, you can always approach me and my partner anytime. Thank you. Rizal Park. What comes first in your mind when you hear this? Of course, the famous Rizal Monument. Because of its significant historical value, Rizal Park is not your normal urban park. As you walk through the area, alam mo yun, mararamdaman mo yung vibe, the scenery. It's like strolling down memory lane. So many events in Philippine history have taken place here. The execution of our national hero is one of the most notable examples. The park was a tribute to the Philippines' national hero, Jose Rizal, a doctor and novelist who was shot by firing squad at this site on December 30, 1896 on charges of fomenting local rebellion against the Spanish government. At the center of it all is the 1913 bronze Rizal's monument, situated a few meters away from the marker, indicating the actual execution site. An honor guard is on duty 24 hours a day. Behind the monument, the original Spanish version of the poem Mi Ultimo Adios is engraved, along with translations in other languages. The park is divided into 3 sections, beginning with the 16-hectare Agrifina Circle adjoining Avenue, where the Department of Tourism and the National Museum of the Filipino People, formerly the Department of Finance, are located, followed by the 22-hectare park proper that extends down to Rojas Boulevard, and terminating at a 10-hectare open field across the Rojas Boulevard fronting Quirino Grandstand along the Manila Bay. Nakikita niyo ba yung flagpole na yan? Diyan binabandera ang bandila ng mga pusong luhaan. Charot. Kidding aside, the 31-meter Philippine flagpole is called Kilometer Zero because it is where the distance of the country's towns and cities is measured from. On the northern side of the park is the Lights and Sounds of Rizal, an audiovisual and 3-dimensional diorama of Rizal's execution, consisting of the life-size sculptures by Eduardo Castrillo. For more information about the history and how the Rizal Park was built, let us listen to my partner as she tours us around.
Thank you for that, Tour Guide Patricia. And again, I'm Tour Guide Pao. Mabuhay and welcome to Rizal Park. Did you know that in 1902, Daniel Burnham, an architect and a city planner, chose Luneta as the American Government Center? Among the buildings he designs were the Senate Building, now the National Art Gallery, the Finance Building, now the National Museum of the Filipino People, and the Agricultural Building, formerly Department of Tourism, now the National Museum of Natural History. Did you also know that during the American period, a monument of Dr. Jose Rizal was built, and by 1913, Luneta Park was changed to, as we all know today, Rizal Park. Rizal Park is now approaching. If you look here, you can see Rizal Park. The park remains a flagship of freedom and courage as numerous political rallies, oath-taking, and national events are held within the park. When historic events are not taking the limelight, everyday activities keep it alive and bustling. Joggers at dawn, afternoon concert, lovers strolling at sunset, family picnics on weekends, and many more. Everyday people come, people go. With their memories and monument, Rizal Park will be kept alive and going for centuries to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia and Pauline, for that great information about Rizal Park. Kamusta at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Ako si Abegail, ang inyong step-on guide sa susunod na destinasyon, ang Manila Baywalk. Now that we've arrived at our destination, everyone, I would like to welcome you all to the lovely coastal seafront overlooking Manila Bay in the city of Manila, Philippines. It is known as a fantastic leisure spot and a favorite destination to see spectacular sunsets. The area, which is filled with open-air cafes and local entertainers, is packed until the earliest hours of the morning. The 2-kilometer-long pedestrian walk at the right side promenades stretches along Ross Boulevard from the Children's Museum, or locally known as Museo de Pambata, and the U.S. Embassy of the Philippines. This baywalk is famous for its golden sunset, peaceful bay waters, and abundant nature. All day long, this boulevard is alive with different types of activities, including singing and dancing performances by local street artists, local food booths, cafes, and food bands. The sidewalk, which is surrounded by palm trees and colorful lampposts, also features benches where people can rest and spend quality time. Before I call on our next step-in guide, I hope you don't forget to enjoy our trip. Do back home with a knowledge and memorable experience, not just here on our trip, but the rest of your stay here in the Philippines. Muli, ako si Abegail. Maraming salamat.
Kamusta? Ako si Aki, ang inyong step-on guide na magbibigay ng konting kaalaman tungkol sa nakaraan ng isa sa mga sikat na destinasyon, ang Maynila Baywalk. For your information guys, the Baywalk was greatly improved during the administration of Manila City Mayor Lito Atienza as part of his flagship program, Buhayin ang Maynila. In 2007, he removed the establishment along the Baywalk with the reason that they blocked the sunset. Since then, migrants have occupied the area and the once vibrant seaside promenade was gone. Afterwards, the national government undertook a rehabilitation of the Baywalk after it was destroyed by the storm surges. In 2020, Manila Baywalk Dolomite Beach was constructed along the shores of the Baywalk. The program for creating the artificial beach was launched in January 2019 under the management of Secretary of Environmental and Natural Resources, Roy Simatu. But as of January 4, 2022, the site has been open to the public. But as some policy in amid of pandemic, these unvaccinated visitors are prohibited. Minus age 11 and below will no longer be allowed to entry. With strict implementation of the one day before rule for online registration, the beach will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with 1 hour visiting intervals and 30-minute breaks in between. And the maximum of 300 visitors per batch will be entertained.
So tourists, before we end this tour, I would like to tell everyone an inspirational quote that says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Just like our tour today, we reached our last destination. So thank you everyone for cooperating in our tour. Thank you to our coach captain that guided us and brought us to the different places here in Manila. That's all for today, tourists. I hope you enjoy and educate. You can now have your time, and if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask us. I am Jemina si Millares, your step-on guide, signing off.